This is the one and only Pretty Boy Chris. Um, the men's room week 3 topic is names. Names. How did I choose my name? A lot of factors went into it, from names that I did want, names that I didn't want, what I wanted my name to mean, um, family, culture, different things of that nature. Um, I've been wanting to change my name since I remember it being 3. My mom said that it might have been since I could talk that people would call me the name that I was given at birth. And I would just be like, ugh, that's a girl's name. I don't like that name. So all my life, people have called me nicknames. Some were embarrassing, some were not so much. Actually, some of my family, especially my brothers, they would call me Peter or Petey. Ironic. I'll tell you why it's ironic later, but they used to call me Peter or Petey because if I was born with everything how it should have been, then my name would have been Peter. So because of that, um, one of my brothers especially, he thought that the name I was given at birth, just for some reason, even though, yeah, they told him, this is a girl, whatever, it just didn't fit in his mind. So he called me Peter or Petey. Um, I had other nicknames. I had Reggie as a nickname, Reginald, Chris as a nickname, Chris Peter, Crispy, because, I was kind of dark. Or I got dark really quick. I was really light at birth, and then I just got really dark. So then I had Crispy, but that's not a favorable nickname. Um, Leo was a nickname because my zodiac sign is Leo, the lion. Um, so Leo was one of my nicknames. So I had a lot of nicknames throughout life, from elementary school all the way up to college. Even now, with my legal name that I've changed and that I've been living with for the past couple of years, I still have nicknames. But the one nickname that I have the most is Pretty Boy Chris, as y'all know me as, because even before I transitioned, even before I started T, people would just be like, "Oh, you're such a pretty boy. You're such a pretty boy." And then my mother would be like, "Oh, that's my daughter." But like, "You're such a pretty boy." And so yeah, so all of these things. So that's how I got my nickname, Pretty Boy Chris, because they would say you're just a pretty boy, and I tell people call me Chris. So the two nicknames that there's 3 nicknames that my family used for me the most. It was Petey, Chris, and another name that is kind of embarrassing, so I'm not gonna say it. Um, I was thinking of Peter as my name, but I was just like, Peter. There's another Peter in my family by marriage. So that was like, not too thrilled. Then I also wanted to have a first name, middle name, last name combination that was just like, damn, that's a hot name. I like that name. So Peter just seems sort of like, um, so Chris was one of the names that kind of stuck. A lot of people will call me Chris because I'm like, oh, just call me Chris, blah blah. So I tried it out. I tried it like I tried thinking about, oh, what about Christopher? But I didn't like Christopher. I don't like being called Christopher, even though many people call me Christopher, and that's not my name. It's just Chris, Cris. And I looked up for different cultural meanings of my name because I wanted my name to mean something. So I put Chris aside as my name, and I said, well, let me see how I feel about it, and I'll come back to it. So I wrote Chris down. I always spelled it Cris. And I looked for different meanings of what I wanted my name to mean. I also took into consideration what my name given at birth meant to my mom, and I wanted to choose something. I wanted to choose a name that would be easy for my family to like catch on to, And it was also important to me to choose a gender neutral name because at the time I changed my name before T, before any surgeries, before any of that. So I wanted a name that it could be read as a gender neutral name, but it was still a masculine name. So the pairing that I have for my full name, or all my names together, is very masculinized. But if you just read it as like my first name and my last name, it could be gender neutral or it could be male. It's not female in any way. So that was one of the things from that was important. So I wanted a gender neutral name. So had Chris, and meanings came into it. So Chris actually means anointed. In specific culture, Chris means anointed. So that was one of the meanings that I really liked that meaning. That really felt like something I could own. And then my middle name that I combined with it means noble. And then my last name means son of. If I tell you what the son is of, then you'll know my last name, so I can't tell you. But it means anointed noble, son of, blah, blah, blah. So that name just really resonated with me, and I tried it out. I tried saying it out loud. I also like tried to sign it, see like if I would get like a pimp signature, because you know it's Pretty Boy Chris, got a pretty boy name, need a pretty boy signature. So I tried it out to see how it sounded, how it felt. I said a couple names out loud. I also thought of using my mother's maiden name as my first name or middle name, but it just didn't fit. And I used Peter in a different name. I was gonna use Chris Peter. I tried a whole different combination of things, but just Chris stuck as my first name. And even though I identify completely as male, and you know that's just me, it was just important to me to have a gender neutral name, or a name that could appear gender neutral in different situations, because as I said, when I was changing my name, I had not started T yet. I hadn't had any surgeries yet, and I didn't know when I would be having those things. So in different situations, I was just like, you know, whatever. But my first name and middle name sort of now come as a package deal. So a lot of places I go, they say my first and my middle name as if it's my first name, and that was another thing that I sort of, you know, wanted to help heighten the masculinity of my name while keeping it gender neutral, because my name is also a gender neutral name, but also very more on the masculine side of gender neutral names. So that's how I came up with my name. And I just owned it. I liked the meaning, I liked how it fit, and even though I told my mother after I changed my name what my name was, once she got over the initial shock and being irritated that I changed my name without telling her, she thought about it and she actually said, you know what, I appreciate the fact that you kept one of your many nicknames as your first name, because it makes it easier for me to call you that. So, yeah, I wanted it to be a family connection, even though my family would have preferred, I'm sure, for me to just have kept my old name and just live masculine. It wasn't happening. So, to include my family in that, I just picked one of my gender neutral nicknames that I liked and had a meaning that felt right to me. Names are a tricky thing, and you gotta make sure they fit. Some people just pick the top names from the baby list, and that's okay. Do whatever's right for you. But I just did what was right for me, took into consideration different options, and it worked out. So that's how I became to be Chris, also known as Pretty Boy Chris. I also have sites for unique names. So for guys thinking about, you know, what should my name be, or need a or if you need a really good middle name, you know, let me know and I can give you the link to where you can find some unique middle names. For some people, culture plays into it. I have some good sites for cultural names. So yeah, Pretty Boy Chris, checking out the one and only, as usual, and giving you the sexy.